So can you say your name, your background in fitness, and just a little bio about yourself? How you started CrossFit, how you came into paleo, what you kind of did before that, what your fitness regimen was like before CrossFit. Just as much background as you think would be relevant to someone listening.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Meg Model. I had no formal athletic background whatsoever before I started CrossFitting. I, did summer swim team a few years. I played softball a couple summers, like younger, but I never played like high school sports or, every once in a while in college I did intramurals, but I just never saw myself as an athlete at all. But I did find that in junior high when I took a weightlifting class that I loved it. Like it just caught my attention, piqued my interest, and I begged to join a gym. And we're like a one-car family with 3 kids and airplanes going overhead. Here with my chickens. Actually, this woman down the street who I babysat for belonged to this gym, and whenever she went, she picked me up and took me with her. So I developed this love of lifting weights and working out then, and just did that through high school, and then did it on my own through college. I just went to the gym to work out, and I tried to run, but I just wasn't good at it, didn't like it. But the weight end of things I liked. And then right out of college, I became a teacher, and I met started dating my husband, actually. We met in a gym, and
really?
He had been we got fixed up at the gym. We didn't even work out at the same time, but the owner of the gym said, hey, I think you guys need to meet, yada, yada, yada. So Rich actually started training me more. He had been a power lifter. He was a mountain biker. He'd run marathons, and he had a huge fitness background. He played soccer his entire life, went to college on a soccer scholarship, so he knew what he was doing. Like, he just trained his whole life, and he helped me a whole lot. And we worked out together the whole time we were dating, after we got married. And then I had just had my second child. So I had my daughter, and we still, worked out, kind of did our same gym routine. And then after my son was born, there was a trainer at the gym we were working out at that his clients were sweating so much more than we were. And we were like, what the heck is going on here? And it was a normal gym, like a machine-based gym. It had some dumbbells, not a lot of space. But it turns out, this was like 2000, like the end of 2006. Because, my son was almost 1. And he was playing around with CrossFit, but he wasn't CrossFit certified, and he just kind of been reading about it. And he started these classes called Fusion, and I kept telling Rich, like, come on, you would love it. You should go do it. You should go do it. And he did. And he was addicted, like, right off the bat. Like, loved it. So different than anything he'd done before. And then after, like, 3 months of him talking about it, I was too scared, because I didn't have that mindset that I, could do it. He pulled me in, and I, just like everybody else says, I thought I was going to be so sick and nauseated, but I was like, I like this. It's so much harder than anything I've ever done in my life, and I wanted more. It had everything, that weight component. It was just so challenging on every level. So we started taking these fusion classes, and then that was like for over a year, and then my son was getting ready to start preschool, and I had been a classroom teacher, elementary and middle school, and I wasn't ready to go back to teaching because it was so much of my evenings and weekends, planning and stuff, and I didn't want to give up too much of my kid time, so I thought, I'll just get CrossFit certified and do that on the side. So Rich and I made Rich go with me. We flew out to San Francisco, went to CrossFit One World, and we got certified the summer of 2008. Yeah, 2008, because there weren't that many certifications in the Midwest at all then. So
what year was this?
2008, summer of 2008.
Okay.
So in July, we flew out there with our kids and did the certification, and then just took like a family vacation, and came back, and I thought I would just train at a local gym, and just do small groups or whatever. And then Rich found this little space in Kirkwood, and he was like, we need to do CrossFit Kirkwood. We need to do CrossFit Kirkwood. So it all just snowballed and happened from there. We had no idea what we were getting into, and Rich still had, he's always had another full-time job. So CrossFit Kirkwood became my full-time job, and I just didn't consider going back to teaching. So that's how we started CrossFit. That's kind of a long story. And then did you want to hear about the food end of things?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I had been a vegetarian. I never, like as a kid, never liked meat, never wanted to eat meat. Like it completely nauseated me when my parents told me that like chicken actually came from the bird, the chicken. And when I found out where rump roast came from, I wanted to vomit. Like it was just so, like, I was like, a cow? You're kidding me. So I shunned meat even as a little kid. And then when I was in 7th grade, my parents finally gave up making me eat meat. So I became a really strict vegetarian in 7th grade. So I was like 12, 13. And I eventually stopped even eating dairy. You know, so I was just pretty much vegetables and fruit and grain from 7th grade through college.
Wow.
So super strict, yeah. And I thought, you know, everything I read was that's the, you know, the most nutritious way to eat. And I mean, I read all the time. I thought I knew what I was doing. And then, of course, you know, right out of college, I get my first job teaching, and I meet Rich, and he was like the opposite. Not the opposite. Like he was a healthy eater, but he ate so much protein. And he kept saying to me, like, you don't even eat that much. You think you'd waste away. But I wasn't like super skinny by any means, or even that fit looking. Like I was strong, but, you know, kind of puffy, I would say.
Right.
But anyway, so I kind of started to incorporate more eggs and dairy, but I couldn't fathom eating meat. And that helped somewhat. So it was a couple years of that. We got married, and then we started to hear about the zone diet. And so as we were kind of playing around with CrossFit, we got pretty strict with the zone, both of us. And Rich dropped probably 20 pounds that way, just tightening up his portions. You know, he would eat good food, but he just ate way too much. And I didn't change that much on the zone. Like I didn't feel that different. I liked it, but it wasn't hard for me. And I just kept eating eggs and cheese for my protein, and then a ton of vegetables and some fruit. So that lasted for probably, 2 years. So we opened our gym in the fall of 2008, CrossFit Kirkwood. And two things happened. Okay, so it was fall of 2008. So 2009, two things happened. Laura DeMarco competed in the CrossFit Games, and Rob Wolf did a piece on her on how she was a vegetarian turned to paleo.
Oh, wow.
After she attended one of his nutrition certifications. And it was like life-changing. Like she immediately left the certification, started eating meat. All of her numbers went up. She felt better, she had more energy, slept better, blah, blah, blah. Like the whole article was just, you know, raving about that. Then at the same time, do you know who Leah Pulaski is? She's gone to the CrossFit Games. She's in CrossFit Atlanta. But she's been to the Games as an individual, and then I think twice as a team. But anywho, she had been a soccer player or blah, blah, blah. But she used to travel to St. Louis a lot, and she always came to our gym, you know, to work out. And she had been a vegetarian turned paleo. And it was like she morphed over that year, 2009. Like every time she came to St. Louis, we were like, what the heck? Like every time she looked leaner and stronger, and she was like blowing us all out of the water. Like we were beating her when she started, and then by the end she was just a beast. And I was like, what the heck? So then I started to read more about paleo, and it was eating meat was like such I couldn't fathom it. It felt like such an emotional thing to me to eat an animal. Like I didn't want to do it. Yeah. But I decided after 6 months, I kept reading all about it. And then I read this book, The Myth of Vegetarianism, and that would kind of like kicked me into, okay, I'm going to try it for 6 weeks. So January 1st, it all happened in 2009. January 1st of 2010, CrossFit Kirkwood did our first 6-week paleo challenge. So if I was asking everyone else to do it, I thought I'm going to make myself do this too. Again, it wasn't that big of a deal for Rich, but he lost another 15 pounds being strict paleo. Like not, you know, the zone obviously is about quantity, you know, having portion control. But once he got rid of grain and dairy, he tightened up. I'd never seen him so lean. You know, he's 44, and his times on everything and his the poundage he can lift.